the midweek market update. There is some issue with the connectivity with TradingView, but it looks like it's okay today. Fingers crossed. I hope everything is good for this stream. Wasn't able to do a full stream last Wednesday. I think I only did for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so. But hopefully today, this one, weekly outlook, will be okay. And let's talk about, we will go over, mainly it's going to be focused on the Forex pairs. I really don't see much in the other markets. I don't see much in the indices. I don't see much in the commodity, and surely enough, I don't see much in crypto. I will go over a few or whatever one that people are asking for, but I will focus on the currency pair a little bit more, at least the one that I'm looking at for for the start of this week. But if you have any pairs, if you have anything you're looking at, you're welcome to let me know, and I can take a look if when I'm talking about that specific market. All right, everyone. So nice to see you guys. Hi, hi, hi. How are you guys? Hey, Victoria. Happy Sunday. Nice to see you. Hey, Ellie. So, if everyone can hear me, everyone can see me, and can see my drawings and chart, and we will get started now. All right. So let me know in the comment if you guys can hear me, see my chart, and see my drawing, and if we're all good to go, then we can get started. All right. Thank you very much. Nice, Joe. Nice to see you. Good, good, good. So without further ado, let's get started with this week market update and market outlook. Um, Remember last week I was more focusing on the dollar pairs. If you guys recall, I did make a few videos on the dollar pair or a few posts. But the dollar itself during the NFP, it did give us the confirmation that I was looking for. Now there's a few people asking me about euro dollar, how they enter a euro dollar position. I mentioned that in the group chat. I mentioned that in my Telegram group chat that to me this wasn't enough as a correction to enter. Now it depends on your plan and what you plan to do, right? Specifically, I was looking for more bigger correction rather than something like this, which is almost not noticeable here on a more uh, bigger scale time frame, so to speak. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. But in the Telegram, I also mentioned that follow your plan. If you see this as a small correction that you want to enter, just so that sometimes you're gonna get tagged out because the price continue developing to a bigger correction, or sometimes it doesn't form enough of a confirmation to look for itself. So a lot of times you might get tagged out here, but if you do catch one of these sell, if they do impulsively push down, then you're gonna get gain a lot of profit. So make sure you understand there is no right and wrong in this kind of scenario. If you choose to enter something like this, understand that there's a lot of time you might get a loss, but if you only need is just one trade to make back all the profit. Whereas I personally didn't enter any of the dollar pairs. I really didn't see the correction I was waiting for. I was specific looking at euro dollar, pound dollar, and dollar CAD, and none of them really developed into the right correction that I was looking for. So that's why I was mentioning in my Telegram post today when I say I'm going to do the weekly outlook. I will go over these dollar pairs, but they look like they're just evolving into the same correction, but they're not looking to continue the bearish move just yet, right? So we want to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more patient when it comes to these setups here. Okay, so I just want to do that quick update here because I get a lot of question on that specifically, and I just wanted to explain that here. So why don't we get started? Why don't we get started now? Euro Aussie, I will go over that. Structure is king, yep. Aussie CAD and pound dollar for sure. I do have those on watch as well. Aussie CAD, pound dollar, those are all on my watch list. So let's get started. I'm going to pick through the ones that I think it's going to be more promising today, or at least the way how I'm seeing it. So starting with euro dollar, okay? So starting with euro dollar, so I was mentioning about last week we were looking for a potential sell, right? Remember we were looking for a potential sell when we see price kind of break down from that correction here that we're looking at. So there was a nice head and shoulder. We pushed down, and we were looking for some sort of continuation here. Again, it's all discrepancy. Personally, I didn't see a correction here, at least the way how I see it. not enough. This is just a little bit of a 5-minute correction, but it's really not anything noticeable on a bigger scale. So personally, I didn't enter any of these, and I really didn't see a correction here. Now that price push up, this is the all from NFP, of course. There's a few ways of seeing this. Of course, this is from the news, right? So from the news, as I always talk about news events, sometimes it creates volatility, but does it create direction? We are not sure at this moment. Now, how I see this is that I can evolve the structure like this, and we're still correcting. Remember, I made that video about evolving correction, involving structures as an exact kind of scenario here is because that push down from the price didn't form, at least the way how I see it, a continuation correction to push down lower. That just means that the overall correction at the time wasn't enough to wasn't enough of a correction to push this move down. Instead, what we're going to get is a bigger evolved structure. This is still looking pretty like a channel to me. It's still looking like we're still correcting in this sense. There's not much movement, at least in this last bit of the area. There's not enough of a bullish movement, nor there is bearish movement at this point. So this is what I mentioned about. Let's give the dollar pairs, at least this week, these specific main ones, a little bit more time to develop into the right price action. Certainly, you can see if you're only looking at this bit of the price, certainly this looks like a bullish push up. This can be some sort of correction or something to push higher. But we're not just trading, a lower time frame here, right? We're looking at the overall higher time frame, multi-time frame analysis. And when we zoom out here, this piece of the price is rather correction, right? Rather consolidation. So we know that this is a period of consolidation. We can still eventually get the impulse and move. We just have to be patient, waiting for price to give us a confirmation here. So if this move is going to push up higher, I'm really not interested in this buy. Certainly, if that fits your plan to buy, always make sure to follow your plan. But I personally is not looking for this buy. If this pushes up, I'm just going to see how the correction or how the structure will be, because the overall down move for me is going to be more promising and more room to the downside rather than this up move where it's going to hit this high again or even this high here. So the buy isn't really as promising as a potential sell when we have a lot more room to the downside. Okay, so understand that there is no right and wrong. This is kind of what I've been trying to pass on to everyone every week, every day when I update these, is that if you're looking for a short-term buy such like this, there is nothing wrong to do that, right? If that fits your plan, if you understand the risk, if you see this as the move to push up, and you understand when to take profit when it hits a certain area, then go ahead to execute accordingly. Whereas I'm going to be more conservative side of things. Um, I'm okay to miss these short-term buys, but I want to capture the long-term sell if it happens. Okay, so let's look at the couple dollars that I mentioned that was looking pretty good. So pound dollar was the other one. Again, pound dollar last week did look like it broke down, but it was trying to form some sort of correction here. You can see that there was forming a few swing lows, but there is not much swing highs here, right? I was looking to see if price is going to reject this area. This looks more of a better correction than euro dollar, which is this piece. This is compared to this, it doesn't look the same. Pound dollar had a little bit more structure there. I was really looking to see what will happen here to form a correction, but it did not, right? And that's the key. That's a confirmation here where price didn't complete this correction here to push down, whereas it pretty much just made a W style pattern. Remember, we talk about W style pattern is the same as an M style pattern. It's just inverse related, right? So a W style pattern is a reversal in this case. So pretty much what it did is it pushed down, push up, and push down, form a double bottom, and then push up. So forms a W style pattern here to reverse. So that was not a good entry here, right? Because there is no structure here. There is no free swing highs here. There's only one swing high here. So that didn't classify, at least in my eye, for a sell position. But again, all this is just telling us that the correction isn't finished. If we just evolve the structure now, well, surely enough, you can see this. This is still a consolidation period, right? You can clearly see this is not impulsive, right? If you go into the lower time frame, sure, you're going to see this as an impulsive move. But remember, multi-time frame analysis, right? If you zoom out here, all this is clearly a consolidation. It's not an impulsive move that we're usually going to see. This period right now that we're still in is still consolidation, right? So all of this is telling us that there's an equal amount of buyers and sellers in the market, right? There's a balance right now. That's why the price is moving up and down. And remember, we don't want to get trapped in the consolidation phase when the market continue to consolidate, because this can go on indefinitely, right? And we don't want to keep taking sells or entries here where the price isn't going anywhere and you're likely to get tagged out for break even or tagged out for a small loss. And just to once the correction completes and when the actual move happens, and we don't want to miss the sell, right? So very important is to be patient here, is to understand that we don't know when exactly this correction will complete, but we know there's a few tendency that it started to shape out, and we're looking for that confirmation breakout and then continuation. Okay, so remember this, right? Don't get trapped in the consolidation phase. Okay, this is where traders lose money most of the time when it's consolidating. We want to be in it when it's in the impulsive phase. So there's going to be a period of fast momentum. There's a more chance for us to potentially make money off. Okay, so that is pound dollar. CAD dollar, we use dollar CAD, Victoria. Dollar CAD, I'll go over that. Euro yen, I'll talk about. Uh, Pound dollar, how do you know that the correction is over? Yeah, I just mentioned we're not 100% sure when the correction will over, right? That's a fact, right? No one can be 100% sure on any of the strategies they use, but we know that it's shaping up, right? Because as the structure continue to develop, there's going to be more swing highs and more swing lows. We're waiting for the impulse breakout followed by lower time frame continuation. So even if we don't capture this move, if the price does break out of this higher time frame ascending channel, right? We talk about this in my dollar video that it's forming this similar kind of price action, similar price action to lead to the impulsive phase. So you just have to be patient, right? This move can happen, and we do have a pretty good probability this move can happen. So we just have to be patient here. So if we don't capture this move, we can capture the move that breaks out of that, and that will be the same down move as well. Okay. Aussie CAD looking for a buy setup. Yeah, I do have a bullish bias on Aussie CAD as well. We'll go over that. You see it's down my watch list later, but I'm just going through the few dollar pairs right now. So dollar CAD. So what do I think of dollar CAD? Well, it's the same thing I've been talking about pretty much for a few weeks. I still more favorable or more my bias is still a long potential on the dollar CAD, right? This period of time, same thing. This is clearly a consolidation, right? There is no impulse to move here, at least from a higher time frame view. Of course, on a lower time frame, there's going to be some movement, right? Some movement like these. But are we interested in these movement, or are we interested in the bigger scale when the overall up move is more promising, right? So that's why you have to make a decision now is understand, you can trade in these lower time frame conditions, but they're not likely to give you the potential impulses on a higher time frame, right? So you have to understand that when someone talk about long, someone talk about short, don't get sucked into what people think right away. Think about who you are as a trader. If you're looking for short-term buys and sell, well, within the correction, there's going to be short-term buy and sell. But if you're looking for longer term, longer potential, then this is just a consolidation, and we're not really interested when the price is in the consolidation. I personally want to wait for the price to break out here and then continuation correction here to take the move up, right? This is always going to be my buy. It's always going to be the entry that I'm looking for when this correction completes, right? The overall higher time frame is there, right? We talk about the higher time frame. We talk about this previous low that the price is clearly consolidating on, right? There is not much movement here in the last, how long? Let's see. We've been consolidating here for quite some time, right? So almost a month time of a consolidation here. So we know that as the longer, the deeper of this correctional phase goes, the stronger the impulse happens. It doesn't guarantee this buy impulse will happen. It certainly can have a small tendency that this impulse will happen as a bearish side. But what I mean is when we see a longer, deeper correction, the better the impulsive move will happen. Okay, remember, the longer the period of impulse, the correction happens, the stronger the impulse happens, right? The stronger the impulsive move happens. Okay, so that's what I'm waiting for price to break out and waiting for continuation. Now, because the last week on NFP price didn't form a continuation, same thing with euro dollar, pound dollar, all that. We broke out of the structure, but remember, breaking out of the structure doesn't mean anything, right? I talk about this every time is when we see some trend line breaks, this is what usually people think. They use trend lines as a resistance or something like that. When they think the trend line is broken, they automatically jump into a buy, which is a big no-no to me, at least in my view of trading. We want to wait for confirmation, which is a actual continuation correction. There is really no continuation. This almost looks like a sanding channel once it broke out. So that's a sign from the market that it wasn't ready for this time. So this happened on NFP. All we need to do now is just slowly adjust the structure to see what it will do. Again, if this move, you can see that there is some lower time frame move. If this happens, I'm really not interested in the sell. Okay, this looks like it can be an impulsive move, correction, and push down, but I'm really not interested in the sell because I am looking at the overall bigger picture for the upside, right? So even if this move pushes down to here, but if it potentially reverse and break up, I'm still looking for the buy up to the top. Okay, so always have a plan, always have a management, okay, instead of just following other person because they're saying buy and sell. I think it's so important for each trader to understand who they are as a trader. Find out what is your trades, find out exactly what you're looking for. Will make your trading journey a lot smoother, a lot easier as well. Okay, so that is dollar CAD. Let's move on to dollar yen, which is my favorite pair right now, at least this given moment. Excuse me, guys. So, apologize. So I was saying dollar yen is my favorite current pair right now. Last week I did update in the weekly. Sorry, last week during the mid market update, I only had like a 15-minute session, but I did mention I took a trade here. If I can find out, I did take a loss here. Those of you who were there for the midweek market update, I did enter a sell here. At the time, I really liked the current price action at the time. This is what I have at the time. There is very clean price action. We had that false breakout here. We had a impulsive move. We had a larger correction. And I waited for a few swing highs and a few swing low. And then there is a clear impulse down followed by a lower time frame correction. And there was also a nice lower time frame kind of head and shoulder as well at the time. So I entered the short, ended up just taking me out for a loss. But what we see now from the price is clearly that we're seeing a better development of this correction. So at the time, like I said, we're not going to be 100% sure when this move will happen. So I entered at the first available one that shows in my eye, but I always understand that even if this move doesn't play out, if this larger correction ends up forming to my liking, I'm still going to jump back into the sell. Okay, so again, planning is very important, right? I can totally take a loss here and I can get back on a potential sell and I will still be able to profit from the trade. Okay, so how I see this now is, well, you can see that there is a clear kind of a reason double top here, right? And you can see that after this move pushed down, we pretty much push up right back to the top. forming a double top here, and then a really sharp impulsive move down. So because I enter here, I'm not going to plan to enter here now. I want to see if price can actually form a little bit of correction here and then push out of this larger correction, which is nice to see, and then some sort of lower time frame correction. I got this question asked. They say, well, what if the price doesn't form this correction you draw? Well, it's never going to form the similar drawing I have. The drawing is just a forecast, right? How the actual price forms out, if it's going to be a flag, if it's going to be some sort of pennant, if it's going to be some sort of channel, we don't know that, right? This is just all speculation. This is just for me to tell everyone that I'm looking for a breakout. I'm looking for some sort of lower time frame continuation correction. It doesn't have to form like this, right? Because we can't predict the future, but we know that that's how price will likely to move when we break out of a larger correction and we're looking for some sort of continuation correction to get in on the sell. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. It's like this, right? We're looking for a SPY here. That's the buy or SPY. It doesn't necessarily going to form. It doesn't necessarily going to form whatever I draw in there, right? But it's going to at least shape up to something, and then we're looking for a potential move. So be aware that you understand what kind of trader you are. If you're looking for that 5-minute correction, or you're looking for a little bit something bigger or tangible. For me, I'm looking for something that's going to be a little bit more size, a little bit more tangible, a little bit more noticeable on the higher time frame, like something like this, where there is clearly a bigger consolidation here. That's going to be a better potential entry down to the low here. Okay, so like I said, dollar yen is my favorite yen pair, or at least, I mean, the favorite pair in general right now to look for the potential entry once we broke out of this correction here. Okay. Does the price need to display the correction in the 4-hour? Again, this is something you need to decide, Victoria. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to push you to the next level. I'm trying to push everyone to the next level. You have to understand sometimes it might just form a 5-minute correction and take off, or sometimes it's going to form a 1 hour, 4-hour kind of correction and then take off. So what is right and what is wrong? Neither, right? Make sure to read my post in my Telegram when I went over this very, very clearly, if I can find it right now. Oh, I can't view it here. I apologize, but I made a lengthy post about understanding if you're looking for a 5-minute correction to go, or if you're looking for something that's bigger. There is no right and wrong, okay? Get this, because sometimes all the price need is a 5-minute correction, it just takes off, or sometimes price will form a bigger correction before the next takeoff. We don't know that, okay? Remember, we can't predict the future. We don't know what it's going to form. So you need to make up your plan. You need to make up your trading plan to understand what is your scenario to enter these, something like that. Are you looking for just a 5-minute entry, or are you looking for something that's a little bit bigger or sizable? Because if you're looking for a 5-minute entry, sometimes, like I said, there's no confirmation yet. Price just reverse up and take you out. It's the same similar example like euro dollar here. Okay, whereas if I'm looking for something that's a little bit bigger, like a 1 hour, 4-hour correction, sometimes I'm gonna miss trade. All it is, price pulls back here and it just takes off, and I'm gonna miss this trade. So there is no right and wrong in this kind of scenario. You just have to understand that. Okay, there is double-edged sword. You have to see it that way. There's pros and cons to everything we do. So you have to make up your mind who you want as a trader. Do you rather be aggressive and then enter the smaller correction and go, or do you rather be more passive, a little bit more risk friendly, a little bit more on risk management, and wait for a bigger correction? Personally, I'm waiting for a bigger consolidation here, at least on the 1 hour, 4-hour kind of time frame. Okay, so hope that helps. What about normal retests? That's up to you. I don't personally trade a retest kind of strategy or anything like that. If you think pushing down and pull back like this and then go, sure. But I think when you form a pullback, like a retest to this trend line, I think that's what you meant. There is probably a 5-minute pullback or a 5-minute kind of ascending channel anyways, right? So that will depend on your plan, of course. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with that specific entry as long as that is something that you're used to. Okay, so let's move on now. Let's move on to euro dollars. Let's look at a few more yen pairs now. Euro yen is also looking very clean. Okay, I do want to spend a little bit more time on a few of these yen pairs. So I talked about euro yen a few more times already. We talked about on the higher time frame. This is currently the previous high that the price is reacting on. And you can see that there is more of a smaller ascending channel after this longer period ascending channel. So you don't have to always connect all the dots or all the time together. We know that this is a period of consolidation clearly. Even though it's moving up, it's not moving up impulsively, which is the key here is. Now, I remember last week I mentioned about won't be interesting euro yen until we really broke this key level here. Because you can clearly see prices just consolidation here. If this move wasn't going to be a impulsive move pushing up, then expect this push down, which is kind of what we get here in the last bit of Friday or so. So this is all good. This kind of fits exactly what I mentioned last week about these yen pairs. So what I will be looking for is obviously lower time frame correction here. Again, depending on what the price will form here, I think this can be a potential head and shoulder as well at the top of the structure, and looking for a potential sell down to the lows here. I think that will be a very good potential. So I keep saying potential. That'll be a good entry here if I can get that thing out. Depending on how you want to set your stop loss, I think to the low here is pretty good, almost 4-1. I think that's fine. But overall, if we look at the higher time frame here, we're just at the beginning of this potential run. If we push down from the price here, we broke this previous low and then broke down and then continuation, then certainly more downside is possible. And we'll be looking for further scaling positions. But first thing first is to really see what will happen in this bit of the price here, right? This is the last confirmation we need. The impulsive move breaking out of the ascending channel is the first confirmation. So the second confirmation will be looking for a continuation correction. That is something that's going to be what I'm going to be looking for this week ahead. So look for the most of the time what will happen during the Asian session is just a period consolidation, right? When market opens on Sunday night, Monday morning, during the Asian session, it's going to be just a clear consolidation across. And let's see during the London and New York session, can we get a little bit more structure here to look for the sell here? All right, so that's Euro Yen. Let's move on to Swiss Yen. So Swiss yen here. Yeah, Ali, that's exactly kind of what I'm trying to say. Hope that I said it that way. There is no right and wrong if you enter something that's less than 1 hour, right? There is no, that's not wrong because sometimes that's all the price needs. But this is why backtesting and chart work is super important, because if we do enough chart work, if we do enough backtesting, we'll realize that sometimes these 5-minute entries, more often they don't work out. Of course, they will work out in a probability of a percentage of the time, right? But it's not going to work out a lot more times. So by putting our account in danger, potential risk, by entering those smaller 5-minute corrections is not ideal for a long-term sustainability, at least from my view. I'm fine missing those entry. I'd rather miss an entry than jump into a trade where I get a loss and I get, you potentially get more emotional because you take a loss and you're trying to get back in, and the cycle begins, right? The endless cycle of people just start over risking, over leverage, etc. It just goes in. The cycle starts when we take those trades. So why not just eliminate that potential, right? Wait for a bigger position, wait for a bigger correction, a bigger structure. It's just going to be a much better entry, in my opinion. So Swiss yen, gold I will go over after Forex pair. Okay, thank you. Swiss yen very similar like Euro yen, right? We talked about this on a higher time frame perspective, and it's the same still. Nothing changes, right? Remember, on a higher time frame scale, this move and this correction here, in my opinion, nothing has changed yet. This is still a larger kind of a parallel channel correction. and you can clearly see there's already a few swing highs and a few swing low across. And if we look at lower time frame, there is this larger ascending channel with a smaller lower time frame ascending channel at the top of that larger parallel channel. So all these are really very, very, very good bearish confluence that I'm looking for. Okay, so key here is now this move here looks a little bit of consolidation. This almost looks like it can be a bullish move, right? We don't know that yet, of course. This can push up. Even if it pushes up, right? And like I said, even if it pushes up, but if it's not followed by a continuation to go higher, instead it pushes up and reverse right back down like this, I will certainly jump into the trade as well, because all of this is telling us it had a false breakout from the trend line. We catch traders to try to buy here, and then pretty much just form a head and shoulder pattern, and then form a continuation here and give us the entry to sell to the low. Okay, so again, patience is very key here. There's nothing yet here, right? So don't jump into here because I'm saying to look for sell. I'm looking for sell if there's more development, right? There's key difference in that. So between this one and Euro Yen right now, I think Euro Yen looks a lot better because at this breaks out of this ascending channel. It had a push down. So a lower time frame correction here would be very ideal. Whereas Swiss yen doesn't have that kind of the breakdown for the price yet, right? So I want to see a little bit more development, preferably a nice bearish breakdown for the price, and then continuation to go. See what happens when we hit this low, and see what happens when we hit the bottom of this ascending channel structure. Okay, so that is Swiss yen. The Euro yen, Swiss yen look pretty similar. Again, you should probably choose one of them. Or maybe or two at most, depending on what your plan is in this kind of scenario. Because they're so similar in that sense, I definitely just choose one, at least from my view. Now we can move on to pound yen now. So pound yen also looks good. We're still in this higher time frame kind of channel, right? This is still a correction you're making. You can almost put this almost in the structure and its own. I didn't put that in, but you can expect this is some sort of ascending channel as well. Okay, moving the price up. But what we're getting here is we hit the top here, we push down, it looks like there is a correction here. Now this kind of fits into my similar kind of forecast last week when I mentioned, well, if this move pushes down and then followed by a correction, this becomes a head and shoulder, which is great. We're at the top of the overall price action here. If we look at the higher time frame, this is that previous high that the price is stalling on. This is very clean because there's not much above this area here. This is the next above area, but this is really the swing high of the price. If we're going to get a reversal, if we're going to get a bearish reversal, this is the area to really look out for, right? Because this whole move has pushed up, but after this bullish push up, there is really no bullish continuation, at least in my eye, right? And we're getting so close to the top here, and as this consolidate a little bit longer or deeper, it actually gives us a better potential to look for a reversal sell. That's what I will be looking for here on the lower time frame. So let's see how this area will develop. I preferably see another move down to the bottom here, and continuation correction. That will give us a little bit better entry. I did see someone enter from the top already. I think this was his entry. I can't recall exactly. But enter here looks like it might get break even. I'm not sure if that person moved it to break even or not. But looking like we're going to get this next bearish push down. This is looking like a correction here. We can push down to the low. And let's see what will happen when we get to the low, if there's going to be correction to go down further. Ultimately, we want to see price to hit the low here. And if this structure completes, then downside for sure after that, right? But first thing first is obviously looking from the top here, see if we can get that bearish move for the price. Okay, so that is pound yen. Any question on the yen pairs, guys? Those are the yen pairs I'll be focusing on for this week. Think dollar yen, euro yen, Swiss yen, pound yen, they're all looking really clean. So again, choose one or two if that fits your plan. And make sure you have your own entries and criteria how you plan to manage as well, okay? Remember, just because I'm talking about a sell, please don't go all in on a sell or anything like that, right? I just want to emphasize on this. Everything I talk about is all speculation and forecasting, and even if I enter them, I'm risking 1% of my account, right? So you really shouldn't risk more than money you don't want to lose, or money you like afraid money, so to speak, where you have a small account and you're risking 10% per trade, things like that. I got those feedback for a couple of times, so I just want to emphasize this. Everyone has different trading account. Everyone has different money, how much money they have, right? So always trade comfortably with something that you can afford to lose. You're not here to gamble your money, okay? This is why traders lose money, because they're always here to gamble their money. They're trying to turn their small account into a big one, but it ends up blowing the small account up. Next week or tomorrow, I'm planning to make a video on compounding. Okay, compounding your trading account and the importance of compounding. I hope that video will help some of you guys who blew several accounts, who um, realize trying to double your small account isn't the way to go, right? If you can be consistent, even with and sustainable, there is going to be money for you to trade, right? They're not interested for you to double their bigger account, because they know if you can double your small account, you're likely to over risk, over trade, and over everything. Whereas with their larger size account, they want sustainable, they want consistent return. They don't need you to double their account. They don't even want you to double their account, because they likely to see that person who trade their larger account to blow that larger account rather than actually doubling it. Right? So they care about more sustainable, consistent approach. Kiwi Yen, not as preferred one, because it's still in this consolidation kind of ascending channel. We're still moving kind of up, but you can see that there is getting a little bit more price here. Now, so several of you guys entered this sell here. Great, right? This is a head and shoulder pattern. I talk about the Kiwi Yen sell as well. So if you enter here, good job on your part. I personally didn't catch this, but if you're here still holding it, then good. You're likely to be holding through here. If this forms a continuation correction to break out, perfect. Wait for another correction once we broke out of this. So once we break out of this structure here, would be nice to look for the sell down to the previous low, which is kind of what I've been talking about ever since we're still here. I've been talking about this play out for a really long time, this potential run. So if you have this move or you're in the move, good catch on your part. Look to see what will happen here if we can break out completely, right? This is probably the last step here. Again, the reason why it's not my preferred, because we haven't break out this larger correction yet. Okay, but once it did break out and then form a correction here, similar like a correction here, I would be looking for a sell. And this is the sell I personally took at the time that I took a loss on, when the structure at the time was looking like this. So when we had that breakout, when we had that continuation, uh, for me it was no brainer to enter there. And I'm happy to take a loss here, because I see the trade play out more often in the profitable side than a losing side. So that's something that we have to live with, right? Taking a trade that was completely fits our plan to enter, but ends up with a loss, and I'm perfectly fine to accept that. Okay, so that's what I see on Kiwi Yen. Wait for this continuation correction to break out, and wait for more correction to look for the sell. Okay. Aussie yen, not as interesting. Not as interesting compared to like a couple other yen pairs. I think there's better yen pairs at this given moment. Like I said, Euro yen, Swiss yen, pound yen, they all look actually pretty good. Aussie yen, I talk about the potential sell here. It's just that this sell here, it drags on a little bit longer. Originally, we want to see price to actually break out of this area here, but you can see once we hit this bottom here, this was going to be a first target anyways. It didn't break out, right? It pretty much just kind of hold back here and pull back, right? It almost looks like a continuation correction. So impulse down, correction here, another impulse down, another correction here, and then this looks like it's breaking down, but we'll see what happens here. So I didn't really like, after this point here, I really don't like this part of the price action here. I would prefer price just break out and then continuation, but that didn't happen, right? So we want to be a little bit more careful. At least for me, there's better yen pairs here to look for the sell. Okay. Gold, I will go over after these Forex pairs. I'm almost done. There's a few more here. So let's go to Euro Aussie now. So Euro Aussie, there's a few ways of seeing this. I kind of evolved the structure a little bit. I think someone mentioned this last time, and I had the structure drawn like this before, and I mentioned about I want to see what the price will do when we either hit this high here, or how the price is going to behave when we push up. Originally, at the time when we see something like this, I was more inclined, or at least at the time, I was more looking like this could be just more correction to go higher, but we need to evolve with the market, right? We need to evolve with the price. So when the price doesn't do that, when the price start forming this kind of a sideways movement, this is a sign from the market, and we just need to accept that originally the bullish move was looking okay, but as this piece continued to drag on, this is more looking like a parallel or ascending channel almost. This is a correction. We don't see the impulsive breakout anymore, right? We want to see the impulsive move. We don't want to see the consolidation move when we have a buy bias. So all this is telling us is that if we evolve the structure now, if we look at this as almost a continuation correction from the higher time frame probability wise. So if we scale out here, this looks like an impulsive move coming down, right? This is a correction. This is another impulsive move down. This is another correction here. So depending on what will happen here, because this looks like it's ascending channel at the top of this correction here. So this breakdown for the price, if it's formed a continuation, then certainly can break out of that correction and continue to the low. Personally, I prefer to see the price hit this high though, but looks like it might not even hit the high. We don't know that yet. It's beginning of the market, beginning of the week so far. But if we get a correction here, and then if we push down and out of the correction, out of this larger correction, then this confirms this move a lot better. And then if you're looking for a continuation here, I think that's fine to look for the sell down to low, or even just continuation down to further downside is also expected as well. Okay, so again, there is no ego here, right, guys? Originally, I'm happy to admit, originally I was looking for more of a buy bias. I think this was last week or 2 weeks ago. I was looking for more of a buy bias at the time, but it's fine to change your bias as the structure, as the market continue to develop, right? The market is life. Every second or every second the price is moving, right? Every minute, every hour, every day, the price is moving. So what we originally had, or what the bias what we had originally can evolve or change based on the price action, right? And what I find traders that they can't grasp is they think that originally they were looking for a buy and they need to stick to the buy bias and they ignore the fact that they're showing you otherwise. Don't be that trader, right? You need to be very versatile, right? You need to be able to grow. You need to be able to advance yourself from the market. Otherwise, we're gonna fall down into that 95% traders who fail, right? If we want to succeed in this business, we want to succeed in trading, we need to evolve with the market. We need to grow with the market. We need to continue to learn. We need to continue to adjust and be humble and remove that ego, right? A lot of traders fail because of ego, right? We have ego, we're human beings. We don't want to be told we were wrong. We want to be told we were right. Things like that. Just drop that ego and really you'll see trading a lot easier. So what I see now here is, let's see if we can get a continuation here and eventually push out the price and then a continuation down more. That is kind of what I'm seeing at this now, right? Evolving from the current or the before correction. Now it looks more as because this part of the piece, this correction form, the bearish reversal kind of correction, looking like it's going to play out a little bit more at this given moment. So that's kind of how I'm seeing this. Okay. So that is Euro Aussie. last couple of ones, I do want to talk about pound Aussie as well. So pound Aussie, I remember last week there's a few people looking for the sell here. It didn't work out for them, and I mentioned last week, well, this is certainly a double top, but I was more inclined to look for a double top on a higher time frame scale, which is in this case here. Now, this is the previous kind of swing high area, and you can see prices getting to the swing high. It doesn't necessarily have to touch it, but it was a much higher level than this level here. And it's the same ascending channel continue to evolve, right? Remember at the time when some of you guys are looking for the sell, this is what I see some of you guys have. This is a mini double top here. You had some of you guys had the correction or the ascending correction more going like this way, and you're looking for the sell here. But you can see the ascending channel continue to grow, right? It continue to become a bigger correction, but it's still a consolidation phase. Okay, so always understand that the market can continue to move and continue to evolve. What was once a correction in our eye can evolve into a bigger correction, but the downside, the bearish move, the overall price action doesn't change. All right, so I'm inclined to see what will happen here. This can continue to correct here to the top. If it does that, good. Or if it can just push down for the price and go, sure. But the bias right now for me is more looking for a more of a bearish kind of price action here to push down and then continuation down to this kind of previous low area. Okay, so that's pound Aussie, and last one I want to go over is Aussie CAD. So Aussie CAD. A lot of you guys are asking about Aussie CAD. I think Aussie CAD is kind of what I mentioned last week. When we're getting towards the low of this bottom of this kind of a wedge, right? Remember, there's a several cells here, right? This move has already happened, right? We have to admit this sell move has already happened. There's a bunch of these sell positions that I know a bunch of you guys caught, but you have to see where the price is at now, right? We dropped down quite a bit, right? And we're pretty much at the beginning of this rising wedge structure now. So we have to understand that it's very possible that this period of time here is a reversal kind of descending channel. Okay, this is something that we have to acknowledge what's happening here. Right, the already move is already happened, right? This move has already happened, and we're at the bottom right now, and we're looking more like this is going to be a reversal correction. So let this correction complete, or at least let the correction continue. Look for the breakout and continuation, right? I think this is pretty clear here. Now, we don't know if this correction will continue go. We might even just go on here a little bit longer before the push up and then continuation. We don't know how long this will go. This can go on for the next few days, or maybe all it takes is a few hours here and then we take off and continue. We don't know that yet, right? But we know there is a reversal correction. We know we're getting to the lows of this. So this can be a double bottom here. And this original move has already happened, right? So the down move is not as promising than the up move now. The up move certainly can be a little bit more promising in terms of risk reward, right? Even to this high here or to this high here, I think that's reasonable to look for a potential buy. Okay, so that's Aussie CAD. I think that's very nice pair to look for. I remember last few weeks or few months, we did capture a few of these sales. Some of you guys probably capture more sell than me, but the overall down move is what we have predicted or forecast, right? So now that price is reaching to the bottom, we can potentially looking for a potential reversal buy move from the price. Okay, so that is Aussie CAD. Any question here, guys, before I move on? I think that's all the ones I'm looking for, or at least what I see for this upcoming week. You notice there's a bunch of Aussie pairs that are looking bullish for Aussie. Again, don't or don't enter all of them, right? This is risk management 101 is if you have a bias of the Aussie getting strength, great, right? Choose the best Aussie pair, but you shouldn't enter every single one of them because if they don't work out, if the Aussie become weak, then you're gonna take losses on all of them, right? So you might have taken some like that before where it works out for you, but probably not on a larger scale or long-term wise because what traders do when they start taking multiple trades of the same pair, and when they incur losses, then it creates a lot of anxiety and emotion, and they're trying to jump back into the market to revenge the losses, which just lead to more disaster, right? So just be careful in that sense, okay? So I did go over Kiwi Yen and Pound Dollar as well. Might have to rewatch it, but I'll go over a few that I haven't touched on. So Pound Kiwi is kind of like Aussie. I mean, Pound Kiwi is kind of like Pound Aussie. But I think Pound Aussie has just a better price action than Pound Kiwi. This is more of a higher time frame double top. There is a little bit more structure involved in this current price action. Whereas Pound Kiwi, we do have this potential double top here. This is a rather pretty clean double top. There's a pretty significant level here that the price is reacting to, right? Now, um, what I don't like about it, because there is kind of no structure, sorry, there is no structure here compared to Pound Aussie, where there is a more clear price action structures. Again, this is a video that I'm planning to make about filtering pairs, right? Filtering the pairs, if it's the same currency, how to filter them, what to choose, and things like that. I'll make that video in the near future, but this is how I will filter them, because the same kind of price action is there, right? The same kind of bearish bias is there on Pound Kiwi, same kind of bearish bias on Pound Aussie, but the Pound Kiwi price action here is not as clean than Pound Aussie here. That doesn't mean this sell will not work out. There's a difference here, right? The sell will work out if the pound all lose strength, or if Aussie and Kiwi all gain strength, then the sell will work. It's just that we don't know that yet, right? We're at this stage where we're not seeing the impulsive move breaking down yet. So we have to make a decision to pick through which one to choose. And based on the price action, based on multi-time frame analysis, based on structures and patterns here, I think Pound Aussie does look better than Pound Kiwi for that potential sell. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. Yeah, Euro Kiwi, I didn't go over that, right? Okay, yeah, I can go over Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi is not my favorite compared to Euro Aussie. You can see if I have a more of a bearish bias on Euro Aussie here, I'm looking for a sell, right? But Euro Kiwi is kind of still looking bullish. I'm gonna be honest. This looks like an impulse, and we don't know if this is just a larger correction. Even if this move pushes down here, we can still reverse back up, right? This is just a larger kind of channel, you want to say, or expanding channel. This is still a large impulsive phase. So to me, there could be something here for a bearish short-term sell to the low, but it's not as clear compared to Euro Aussie, where the bearish move down here is a little bit more promising. Okay, and then the larger kind of correction here, at least this part here looks a lot better than Euro Kiwi here. Okay, so this is the same as choosing Pound Aussie and Pound Kiwi. I would choose Pound Aussie for the sell. And same thing with Euro Aussie and Euro Kiwi. I would choose Euro Aussie for the sell. Again, it's not that Euro Kiwi won't play out, it's just that when I have to choose the same currency pair, because they're all Euro pairs, just like Pound Aussie and Pound Kiwi, they're all pound pairs, I have to make a decision, right? I have to make a decision, be clear on which one I need to go with. Okay, there's no point picking all of them, because, like I said, if they work out, it will work out for you. But if they don't, then you take a number of losses, and it just creates so much emotional, and you're just gonna start revenge trading and deviate from your trading plan, right? So that's one thing on Europe Kiwi, it's just not as clear than Euro Aussie at this given moment. Okay, Euro Aussie, it's looking a little bit more clear for a potential sell. Okay. Great. No problem, no problem. So I want to keep Euro Pound. I'll quickly go over that. Really not on my watch list, but really not see too much here on a higher time frame scale. Really not clear on what it's doing here. It looks like there is some sort of consolidation, but I really can't make up to what it's doing here. Like, I mean, lower time frame wise, I can see this as an impulsive move, but is this a correction to correct this move? Harder to tell at this given moment. Okay, so I better stay away from that. Pound dollar, I guess, pound dollar, I went over this. Like I said, I'm waiting to see what the consolidation period will do. Still looking for a potential downside move if it finished correcting. While the price is correcting, though, I'm really not interested in the short-term buy or whatever the move is going to do because it's still in a consolidation. Kiwi Yen, mentioned about this is not as clear like the other yen pairs. I would prefer price to break out here first and then looking for continuation. That is something that I will look for. If that doesn't develop, then of course no entry and things like that. Okay. So that is Kiwi Yen. Let's go on to gold now. I think I'll go over all the currency one already. So let's go over gold really quick. I think gold is the only one I'm talking about, or at least looking for. Um, So gold, originally I was looking for this move drop down, right? I was looking to see if there's going to be continuation. I saw someone caught this potential sell, so good for you if you caught this sell. I forgot what the entry is. He posted in Telegram. I can't remember what the entry was. But originally I was looking for continuation, right? Originally this is what we wait for. We wait for this ascending channel to break down, and then was looking for a continuation to go lower. But that did not happen, right? That really did not happen. There is really no correction here, whatever how we want to draw it in. There is nothing here. We want to look for originally for a bearish continuation, but this almost looked like an inverse head and shoulder, and price just pushes up now. So at this given moment, I'm really not interested at this time. I want to see a little bit more development. This can lead into what my bias is now of that potential option one now, because this move pushes up and I want to see if this is going to develop into a continuation correction. If this does consolidate here a little bit longer, this gives us a better opportunity to buy. Okay, now that this, because of this bearish move wasn't correct by a continuation, this leads me to believe this can be a continuation for a bullish perspective to go higher. Okay, but it's not ready yet. Again, there's not much going on here. Okay, so uh, be aware of this type of scenario where price is breaking out of this higher time frame structure. This is clearly that price broke out now. But this last bit of the area needs a little bit more confirmation if you're looking for the buy setups. I do like the buy. I do, of course, see the buy more potential of the higher time frame as well. But I did point out that something similar could have happened like this before, where the structure was like this at the time and price break out, and originally people are looking for a buy, but the buy correction didn't form and just had a reversal move down. So we're not sure if the same thing could happen here, but for me right now is waiting for price to develop a little bit longer. I don't see much here at this given moment. Okay. So that is dull gold. I don't see much on the indices market. I went over that in the Telegram. I kind of mentioned I do not see much here. Okay, at this given moment, we're not sure what the price will do. Originally, this ascending channel with this impulsive move down looks nice, and I was kind of looking for if there's continuation, but nothing like that happened here. Same thing with S&P 500. There's this bearish push down, but um, not much happening here. I don't like this kind of sideways consolidation. Usually followed by an impulsive move. I want to see continuation. That did not happen yet, or this becomes a longer period of correction. So it's hard to predict anything at this moment. So I want to see a little bit more development from it. Nasdaq originally was looking at structure like this and did not push down for the price, right? So this looks like a bullish push out followed by a correction. We don't know if this is going to be the one that's continue higher. Even if it continue higher, in my opinion, this is just a short-term kind of buy, right? As long as that fits your plan to look for a buy, sure. But this is very close to the high here, so I just don't see the buy potential. The buy would be much, much better if we can break above this high and continuation to go higher. That would be a better buy than this current buy where the top or the reward is somewhat limited, because this can easily push up here and then just push down and then reverse back down. Right? We know that that's the tendency what the price will do. So in my opinion, I wouldn't be buying here. I would at least wait for the price to break out. Okay, so that is a couple indices. So yeah, that is NASDAQ. I just went over that. So any question, guys, on the indices or maybe commodities or anything like that before I wrap it up with crypto? Again, pretty mellow session today. This because I really don't see much, right? There's no point talking about every single pair if there is no development, or at least it's not shaping up to something that I want to see. I always talk about to do these forecasting, to do the analysis so that you are prepared to what the market will do. You're not randomly making a decision on the fly because you see a bullish push up or a bearish push down, and FOMO kicks in, emotion kicks in. You're trying to jump into the trade without a proper plan, management, entry, stop loss, or take profit. You're just trying to jump in and hope you get it and it works out. And I think that's what happened to a lot of traders, is that when they see a move happens, let's talk about gold. I think this is a good example. When they see this move happens, right, this bearish move that happens, right away they're just trying to jump in here, right? You see that once this bearish move happened, they're like, okay, well, this bar pushed down. Well, I don't want to miss this now. It's going to start dropping. So they're just going to randomly enter here without any plan, right? There's no plan here. There's no entry here. They don't even have a stop loss sometimes. They don't even have a potential take profit. They're just trying to jump in because of that fear of missing out, right? That's a psychology thing in trading psychology. I went over this many times in my videos. They're just trying to jump in here because they don't want to miss this. They think this is going to drop down like a straight line here, which it never happens. If we notice, the impulsive move happens in the market, but it's never in a straight line, right? So there's a lot of more chart work needs to be done for that person to understand, to eliminate that fear of missing out, because the market doesn't drop like this, right? It's going to move down, correct, move down, correct, move down, correct, if it's going to go down, right? So even if you miss the first entry, there's multiple entries that you can enter. Whereas traders trying to jump in here without a plan, without a management, and just take this happen, right? Market reverses, and then they get upset, they get offended, and they think the market is scam, their trading is scam, broker is scam, whatever. I hear all these kind of excuses a lot, but this is the problem with the newer traders who don't understand that every decision you make is your decision to make, right? No one is controlling your trading account. No one is forcing you to enter trades or exit trades. You're the one who's controlling all these decisions. So to be blaming other people for your own decision is not growing, right? You're not advancing when you blame others for your own mistakes, right? You can make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, myself included. Any other traders will make mistakes, but it's how you deal with the mistake afterwards is how you're going to be a better trader. You should definitely journal down your trades. You should record down if it's an emotional trade or if it's not an emotional trade. Did you follow your plan exactly to enter? What was your plan to enter? What was your management, your entry, things like that? Did all that fit your plan? If it did, and if the trade gone wrong, then so be it, right? Because you are going to take losses from time to time. But if you didn't follow your plan, if you didn't follow your entry, if you didn't follow your management, then something is wrong here that you need to work on and adjust. right? You need to face your problem and adjust with it. So otherwise, you're just gonna be like the other 95% traders out there who are losing money in the market and blaming external facts, right? So I hope that helps some people. I want to be as realistic as possible because I try to help people in this kind of aspect. So I hope that makes sense for some of you. Now we're going to jump into crypto for last. So US oil, sure. I did briefly go over US oil, I think, when I was looking at the market. Um, Now, this move up here looks a little bit more corrective. Okay, so that's the first sign I see. You can see there is more of a sandy structure pushing up, which is good. We broke this high here. This is all good. Now, the only, I don't want to say issue, the only thing that I see more fit, or not see more fit, sorry, let me just see. The only thing that I'm worried about is there's a several times price makes similar structures like this. Okay, we push up and then price just doesn't push down or it doesn't have the impulsive push down. It's still too early to tell, but the structure here looks a little bit more clean now compared to what it was once before. I think that's what a better sound of it. Now, if I look at the higher time frame here, we broke pretty much all this high here, right? This is the previous high. This is the previous high. This was the previous kind of double top here for the price to drop. So I still think this area or this significant area or level is still pretty key here. Price now doesn't have to necessarily reach all this high. It just has to understand that there is a potential double top here, and this area is also the double top for the previous bearish market. So this can add a little bit more confluence to what we're looking for here. Now, because this move is continue going up, the usual way to deal with this is let the correction finish, right? We want to see the bearish push down for the price and then continuation to push down the price. I think that will be a very good potential sell opportunity. But oil for me, I want to see a little bit more development, preferably the strong impulse down, because there's a couple of times when I see people take a short on oil, it didn't work out too great. So I want to be a little bit more careful, especially because all the cap pairs are relatively strong, right? So all the cap pairs are relatively strong, but we are seeing a few of the cap pairs are potentially could be reversing, right? Dollar CAD is one of them. We talk about Aussie CAD as well. Aussie CAD looks like we can reverse as well. So these ones are at least in our favor, okay? But just be careful on the overall price as well because this is still a bullish move, even though this last bit of the price is correcting. But this is still kind of a bullish move moving up. So don't just start jumping into a sell here because we see some, bearish candlesticks, right? I think that's again a mistake that I would suggest traders not to make. Don't just sell based on candlestick formation. Sell based on the overall price action, market structure, multi-time frame analysis would be a lot better than just jumping in on a candlestick and thinking this is going to go to the downside. Whereas this can continue, whereas this bearish candlestick is quickly eaten up by the bullish move, continue pushing up just a little bit higher. You took one or two losses here, and then the move pushed down, and then continuation, and you missed this trade because you took a couple losses here. Okay, so that's what I see on oil. Could that be a head and shoulder on gold? It did form a head and shoulder. I would agree, but I wouldn't like this kind of a reversal impulse back to the top here, right? So I want to be a little bit more careful on what price will do. I think that's something that I want to be a little bit extra careful on. I don't think there's any buy or sell at this given moment. So. Accumulation setup. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, I do know what accumulation is, but I don't trade that way. Do I use trading bots? I don't. Thank you. So let's move on to crypto now. So let's move on to crypto. I really don't have too much to talk about, but I will talk about Bitcoin. I think I talk about Bitcoin every stream, and I'm gonna talk about it again because uh, there's a trader who messaged me who said he'd take a few losses in this area, and I thought I was pretty clear. Kind of wanted to help. I wanted to bring up the fact that this is going to be a consolidation phase, right? I talk about this pretty much every stream. I want to make sure we understand that the similar consolidation phase is just similar consolidation phase that has happened before, right? So after the impulsive move, naturally price needs to correct before the next move. And it's the same thing here. After the impulse down, price needs to correct here. So there's really no buy or sell here. Sure, there is buy or sell probably on a lower scale, 5 minute, 50. I don't know how that person entered, but it's just not, in my opinion, it's not feasible to be buying and selling here. There is just going to be consolidation here for much, much longer. There is really no immediate reversal or continuation from the price right away. There really isn't, right? So try not to get caught up with something like this. You probably see it on TradingView, you probably see on social media. People are talking about buying and selling here. I personally don't think it's ready to do either of them, right? I think this is going to either form into a bigger correction, right? Push up like this before the sell happens, or it's going to continue to correct here in a more neutral correction, preferably just sideways consolidation. And the more sideways, the deeper it goes, the better it is for us to look for a reversal breakout and then getting to the bullish move again. But all this takes time, guys, right? It doesn't complete in a matter of few days. Think about how long this has been after this bearish drop down from the price. We see price pretty much consolidated for 18, 19 days. So that's almost 3 weeks of consolidation. So don't get trapped in the consolidation. Okay, there's really no buy or sell at this given moment. Sure enough that the correction will finish eventually, but it's not ready yet, in my opinion. Okay, it's the same thing as something like this, right? This takes how long? Let's see. This takes quite a bit of time to correct, right? 26, almost a month time, right? So be patient here. Don't give your money back to the market while it's consolidating here. Okay, you might have a buy bias, you might have a sell bias. That's fine, but I just don't think it's ready yet at this given moment. Okay, so I'm from Dubai. Hey, nice to see you, buddy. Um, Other than that, I don't have too much else on crypto. I will go over a few that I was looking at originally. Originally, I was looking at Ripple here to see if this is going to be a bullish continuation to go higher because this larger impulse followed by this larger correction could lead to another impulse. But as the price continued, you can see this push up kind of just failed to break higher. Like, I mean, this can become a correction on its own. So be careful on most of these cryptos because whereas people naturally think, you know, price should recover or whatever it is, but as the price continue to develop, this is almost looking more bearishly than bullish, at least in my eye. Okay, so be careful here, right? Because a lot of these move Ethereum, same thing, it's just not breaking above this high here. And if you want to see price here, it's almost looking like it's going to form some sort of bearish continuation rather than any bullish price action. You can see that we're not breaking above this high here. It's just consolidation here. Right, I'm just going to pick up the main cryptos here. I'm just picking up a few main crypto. Litecoin, same idea, right? It's not going anywhere here. I can look at a few more. Binance Coin, same idea, right? This is the high here. We're pretty much looking like this is more of a bearish correction here, and this is why we need to be very, very careful here, right? The impulsive move is that we can't ignore that, right? I just see so many people say buy, buy, buy. The bear market is over. Uh, sure, they have their own view, right? I'm not saying they're wrong, but if you're looking at the price, when we zoom out here, what happens after an impulsive move, right? A continuation correction. What happens after the continuation correction? The next impulsive move happens, right? So if you look at this overall market here, impulsive move has happened. What happened after the impulsive move? Correctional period. What happened after the correctional period? Very likely for another impulsive move, right? Everything is just inverse related now, right? If we look at closely here, if we zoom out here, this almost looks like a larger scale of head and shoulder as well on Binance Coin. So you just have to be very, very careful here, right? If you're buying here, make sure you have your own management and trading plan. If you're buying here, um, make sure you have your stop loss in place. I see people who buy, they don't even have stop loss. And I hear people who have no idea between trading and investing in crypto. There's a huge difference, okay? If you're investing in crypto, that means you're actually buying the physical coin. You're buying an actual Binance coin and you're holding it for long term or whatever the case may be. That's more investing. If you're trading, that means you're speculating. You don't actually own any physical coin. You're actually trading on your broker or exchange. You don't own the coins. You're just buying or selling. There's a big difference between them because if you're trading, if that broker exchange offer you leverage, then obviously there's more risk involved and things like that. If you're investing, that means you're holding the coin. If you're holding the coin, then sometimes you gotta understand you can't sell your coin when the market is dropping, right? People kind of make a comment about the broker exchange is a scam when the market is dropping. Well, you gotta understand how the market works, right? When the market is dropping, there's no one buying the coins. Okay, so when there's no one buying the coin, you're not going to be sell at any price you want because there's no one buying, right? This is exactly happens to a lot of the market, stock market, right? When the stock is falling, you holding the stock cannot sell because no one is buying, right? You just have to understand that. So when people say that, oh, this exchange is scam, they don't allow me to sell my coin. Well, you have to understand when the market is dropping, there's no one buying the coins, so you can't sell your coins, right? Eventually, you're eventually gonna get options to sell, but not when it's free falling like this, right? It's the same idea when we talk about the Swiss franc and things like that, right? If you guys know when Swiss franc collapsed, right? When this happens, this is how traders lost so much money. Is because when this happens, right? When this happened in one day, this is when Swiss franc they decide not to peg their currency with euro, so there's collapse or strength, or you can say strength in Swiss. When people are holding some sort of buy trades, they're not going to get executed on their stop loss, or they're not able to sell their position because it's just a free fall and nobody is buying. Okay, so make sure you understand the difference of that because I hear too many cases where traders really don't understand that concept, and they 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 have their own kind of mindset or their own perspective on how it is, but it's really not the case here. All right. Uh, anything else? Just reading you guys what you guys are seeing. Do you mostly analyze on 4 hour chart to see patterns, or analyzing 1 hour 15? I usually do what I call multi-time frame analysis, so every single time frame. So you will start from a higher time frame, usually daily. Depends on how you want to use. So I usually go with daily or weekly. I'll start from higher time frame, and I'll work my way down from 4 hour first, and then 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, etc. So this is what I do to look at every single time frame, so I can be um, much more prepared for different kind of price action, different time frame. So not a specific time frame. All it is there's higher time frame and there's lower time frame. There is only two, right? So lower time frame is anything under 2 hour down to really the 15 minutes, and higher time frame is anything daily or higher to weekly or monthly, things like that. So hey, nice to see you, Ali. Have a good night, buddy. US 30, I did go over that. So I did go over that, and I don't do scalp, my friend from Dubai. I don't do scalp, so I can't really answer your question. But I mean, I kind of briefly went over Dow Jones here, which is US 30. I'm not seeing too much here. This impulse move has happened, but I really don't see this as a continuation correction. So I really recommend to enter anything. Yeah, I want to see a little bit more development here. That's for me personally. I so those crypto ones, my friend, I don't really see much here. Okay, I'll be very honest. I kind of went over this as well. I see it more bearishly, unfortunately. Even though a lot of people out there are saying more bullishly. This is an impulsive phase. This looks like a continuation of a bearish continuation to potentially go down. That's Cardano. So if I have a bearish bias, I'm looking for a price to break out and then a continuation to the downside. Okay, so that's Cardano. Went over Ripple already. Like I said, the original move, I was looking at this if it's going to be a bullish push out. This almost look like it's going to form a bearish continuation like so. I don't want to talk about SafeMoon or Shiba, all that stuff. Okay, I just want to focus on the main ones here. So last two, sure. EOS, same thing, right? I'm not seeing the bullish price action. I really don't. Now, of course, everyone has different opinion on crypto, of course. But if you're looking at this overall price here, what does it look like here, right? It just looks so much like a head and shoulder pattern, a very clean head and shoulder pattern. After this bearish push down, there is no bullish price action here. I really don't see that personally. So my bias here is more of a bearish bias here, in my opinion. Dogecoin is probably the only one I do see something potential. Like at least I see this breaks out. This is more of a descending channel. This price breaks out, and let's see if we're going to get some sort of continuation correction here to push up higher. You could also think of this as a bearish move, but because compared to every other crypto, Doge actually has a large push up, and this move down isn't as severe like this area here. This is when the most of the crypto crash, but in my opinion, Doge didn't really crash that much compared to a couple other crypto that we went over. So for me personally, this could be a little bit more bullish, depending on what it's going to do here, and depending on we can break this high here and continue higher. Okay, other than that, I don't see much of the crypto being bullish, okay, at least in my eye. Okay, everyone, so going to wrap it up here. I'll have last minute question for anybody who is interested. I do these streams twice a week. I do them once in the beginning of the week and once during the week during the midweek. I'm always doing them on Trading Views, and so you can watch all my Trading View stream here, or you can watch it on my YouTube as well, right? I have all the playlists for all my YouTube videos on price action, on trading psychology, on risk management, how to entry and things like that. I talk about all these price action structures and patterns. Just explain every single price action structures that I talk about in the video. And all my streams are they're on my YouTube channel once they're finished. So if you didn't catch them, you can always recatch them again. And I post all my content on my Telegram. So all my posts, all my streams, all my educational lessons, all my analysis, they're all here. You're welcome to take a look if you're interested. All right. Yep, no problem, guys. So that was just me wrapping it up. So again, my favorite ones, I really don't see much in crypto, like I mentioned. I'm more seeing them more bearishly, but of course things can develop, right? Things can develop into bullish in the next few days. Who knows, right? But at this given stage, at this given time, I don't see that much here in my eye personally. For currency pairs, I talk about the yen pairs that is going to be the one I will look to focus on, right? Euro yen, Swiss yen, they all look pretty clean. pound yen as well, and there's a few Aussie pairs that could be something as well. Okay, so tomorrow I'm planning to make a video on compounding account, why compounding is important and why you shouldn't over risk, because compounding will help you to grow your account, right? So we'll talk about that. At least I'll make a video tomorrow on this particular topic. Hope that will help others. And on Wednesday, I will do a midweek market update and doing exactly what I do today, updating all of the 4 major markets and take it from there. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for being here today. See some familiar faces and see some new faces as well. So hope you will follow and join and see how it goes. All right. Gonna join my Telegram channel where you get notified when you go live again. Yeah, I always post links. I always post my links in my Telegram channel, so it will talk about like it will talk about my streams and what time. The actual link, it's down here. You can click on it, things like that. But I will update. I will always make a post in the Telegram when I go live, so you're welcome to click that. I don't bombard with people with a bunch of advertisement or promotion. There's really none in my channels. Everything is actual content, useful information and things like that. I don't really sell anything here. So you're welcome to join and you're welcome to see all the posts from before. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. Thank you. So hope everyone is safe out there. Hope everyone is healthy, and I shall see everyone next time. All right. Thank you very much, and be safe out there. And hope everyone is, everyone's family is doing well as well. Thank you, guys, and see you all next time.